Welcome to the 91st episode of the Meeple Society, a podcast about board games hosted by two longtime role players turned avid board gamers. My name is Katie.
I'm Greg.
On this episode, we talk about the most anticipated upcoming event of the year. We dig into some recently played games that include diving into the belly of the beast and solving mysteries in Victorian England. We answer some of your questions. And finally, we find ourselves swept from 1937 San Francisco into a world filled with bizarre creatures, scheming gods, and untold dangers in our first look at Distant Skies. But first, we need to apologize for being a week late.
Yes.
Yes. Unfortunately, we had to postpone. Yes. So everything is shifted by a week. So unfortunately, our air conditioner went out. And luckily we have two. So the back of the house was nice and cool, but the front of the house where we record was most definitely not.
No.
And unfortunately, the room that we record the podcast in was very stuffy and not comfortable.
No.
So we decided to just postpone for a week till we could get it fixed. It is fixed. It is a nice 71 degrees in here now. So we are good to go. So from here on out, we're not going to try and catch up. We'll go 2 weeks out again.
Okay, so we are going to actually start talking about Gen Con. Gen Con's coming up.
Ooh.
We will be there.
Everybody's most anticipated event of the year.
Yeah, it's the end of this month.
It is, yeah. I think it starts like the 31st.
This being the 7th.
Let me look at a calendar.
When you're recording.
Yeah, we are recording on July 6th, actually.
July 6th, yeah.
And it starts on the 31st. So yes, it starts in 3.5 weeks.
Yay. So BGG does a list of games that are coming to Gen Con, whether they're being sold or they're just showing previews of it, but they'll be there to take a look. And I went through the list and I found some games I really want to look at and I'm really interested in.
Okay.
So we're just going to kind of go through it and kind of give a MSRP about it and how long it takes and basically read the wording underneath the game. Okay, so the first one is Grand Central Skyport. This is by 25th Century Games. It's a 30 to 60 minute game that's $40. It operates one of the largest air skyports in the world. I'm not 100% of exactly how this game plays, but I do remember reading about it. It really, I think you are running it's like the blimps and stuff. Mm-hmm. You're running an airship company, I think. I can't remember. But I remember looking at it, and it sounded really cool.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like you can already pre-order it on Amazon, but it's not going to be available till August.
Right.
Interesting.
So, but it should be at Gen Con too.
Yeah.
The next one's Ruins. This is uncover ancient ruins and treasures by crafting power card combinations. So it's basically, I think it's a tableau builder or a deck builder or something like that. It sounded really cool. This is one I've seen... Okay. Bruce has. I've seen him playing this. I don't know how he got an advanced copy, but it's a John D. Clare game, and we've liked a lot of John D. Clare games. And it's only $17.
It was released in June, so he may have gotten a copy.
He may have. I didn't even notice the release date there. The next is Soda Jerk, just because we know Chris Yee. This is Chris Yee's game. It's being released by All Play. He actually has it down at the Dice Tower East Con that is just basically ending today as we are talking. This is I love it. Carefully manage your hand and serve delicious beverages while being a jerk to others. That's like,
okay,
$9. It's a 15-minute game.
Yeah.
It's worth putting in the collection.
Oh, absolutely.
Just to see, and to support our buddy Chris. Next game was The Wondrous Museum. It's an engine building card game that collect magical exhibits and run a museum. The engine building part is what really got me right off the bat. I don't know of Broadway Toys Ltd. And Zonger.
Probably it's a Chinese English edition, so chances are it's a Chinese company.
So this is one that
check it out.
I want to check it out, see what it is.
Yeah.
Next one from Brotherwise Game. I want to look at this because I want to take Justin over this because they have this game. This is the a expansion to adulthood.
Yeah, I saw that. See, mine must be in a different order than you because that's number one on my list.
Oh.
Okay, so I saw that and I wondered why you skipped over it.
Well, don't
Okay.
scroll much then. Because like I said,
Well, I've
I
already
have a
scrolled
game.
through the whole thing, so because I had to scroll through the whole thing to find.
I don't like
so
you
I
no
don't
more.
know which one you're talking about. So
Okay, so this is an expansion for Adulthood. If you ever played Adulthood, it's a very interesting game.
it was in my top 100. I don't remember where though, but yeah, I thought it was a pretty interesting game. So I'm looking forward to this Pets project. That looks fun.
Yeah,
you know me and Pets.
So the next one's the Lost Ruins of Arnak Adventure Chest. I think there is an expansion in it. It comes with a lot more boards.
We've already pre-ordered this, so I wonder if I can pick it up there.
But it is a big box.
Yes.
To house all your stuff in. And it's $80. But like I said, I think it comes with an expansion. Yeah, safely pack all your essentials and adventure across new maps and temples.
I'll have to look at see if there's any updates on it. Because it wasn't a Kickstarter, it wasn't GameFound. It was literally a pre-order on Czech Games' website. I'm curious if we can pick them up there or if they anticipate delivering before then.
I don't know. It says August of 2025, so
yeah, I don't know.
Could be the end.
I'm excited about that one.
So Lightning Train, this is overcome the odds of delivering goods with your railway company. This just looked interesting to me. One, it's a train game.
Pick up and deliver, it looks like.
Yeah. It's an hour to 2 hour game, which I love those. That means it's a little meaty. One thing I'm interested in, it's a direwolf game. I just want to see what they say. There is no ratings or nothing on this game yet.
No.
Steer your railway company through the land of strategic opportunity in a bag building train game.
It's a bag builder.
Ooh, yeah. Build your bag to improve your company's resources, then place your chips to open stations and train lines across 8 regions of North America. There's a fortune to be had by delivering goods to the cities that need them. Sounds cool. Like I said, it's trains. So
right. Trains, bag builder, pickup and delivery.
Yep.
All there.
Next one's Inferno. This one it's already on Amazon. I don't know if it's actually... This says November 2024 it came out. If it's there, I just want to take a look at it and see what it looks like. Because this is Abandon Hope, all ye who enter here. It's $80, so and it's a 45 to 120 minutes, so it probably depends on player count. It's
probably, yeah.
1 to 4 players, 14 and up. So it was one of those Kickstarters I thought about backing, and then I was like, nah.
Okay. Well, we can look at it.
But yeah, so I want to look at it. Ice and Idols. This one we have, if I'm not mistaken, this is the one we have tickets to go play, to demo anyway. So
okay.
That's one of the reasons I got it on here. 2, you can kind of take a look and see what it is. It's adventure, manipulate pathways to research idols in a frozen temple.
I'm scrolling. Oh, there it is. Okay. I'm looking forward to playing it.
And then they'll have the Galactic. Apparently, they'll have the Galactic Cruise
expansions. We did not get in the Kickstarter.
This is the one I'm like, if they are at the booth when we get there, fine. If they're not, I'm not going to be upset.
No,
because I have a feeling this is going to sell out.
It very likely,
because the people who did not back Galactic Cruise is now seeing Galactic Cruise and hearing about a Galactic Cruise. They're going to want it.
Yeah. I'm curious. I think these are the 2 advancements and accommodations. Those are the 2 that came with the Kickstarter, right?
And they actually fit in the main box.
Right.
We were worried that it was going to be separate boxes. They weren't going to be able to fit in the same box, but they made spaces in the box for these just to sit. And
so now
basically
we have
they're tiles.
Yeah. All it is extra tiles. That's all it is, which is fine. Those kind of expansions I have no problem with. Neither of us really wanted something that changed the game, which so many expansions do. And we're trying to shy away from that type of thing. But yeah, right now we just have foam blocks sitting where these should be. So it'd be nice to get the actual expansion in there.
Yeah. So this next one, Reiner Knizia teamed up with Susan McKinley Ross on a Quirkle game.
Quirkle Flex, I see that.
This is now the tiles. There are tiles in there. There's 2 different backings, white and black, on the backing of the tiles, and some tiles have both. So now you can score diagonally.
Oh, interesting.
So it's like, it's $30, 30 to 60 minutes, 2 to 4 players. I'm like, I have to see this.
I want to at least see it for sure. Quirkle has always been one of our favorite abstract strategies. So easy to teach. Now, scoring diagonally might make it a little more complex, but we'll see.
Yeah, that'll change the game.
That'll
because
totally
depending on
change
how
the
you're
game.
setting those tiles and to see, does it matter what color backing it is when you set it down? So can, like they show the box, can you put that blue diamond with a white backing next to, if that the cross there was a blue cross, could you set the white backing next to a black backing that has the same color and in the same shaping?
I don't know. Interesting. I'll be curious to check it out.
Yeah. Guildlands, this is another one I've heard about. I've heard a lot of cool things about it. It's a city building tile laying game with asymmetric powers dependent guild selection. It's something I just want to check out. See if they have anything to demo.
Asymmetric powers.
Yeah, I figured it's a city building tile laying game. So
yeah, be worth checking out.
Shackleton Base, I just want to look at. I know you can order it, probably pre-order it on Amazon right now.
Yeah.
But I know this was
actually, it said June of 25. It might actually be out there.
Yeah, it may already be out there. So, and they're wanting $77.17 on Amazon, but they say the MSRP is $90. I just want to check this one out, see what it's looking like.
Free delivery July 11th through 14th. So it's already available.
Yeah. In the Footsteps of Darwin correspondence. This is the expansion for Footsteps of Darwin.
That one looks.
We have that one. We liked that one.
I do like.
So
Darwin.
now they have
I just
an
got to play
expansion
it
for
just the other day, and I forgot how much I really enjoyed it.
Says correspond with Charles Darwin and make new discoveries. So I think it's coming out. I think when I looked at it, I think there's a whole nother board to it now.
I don't know. Again, it's another one that's already available. The release date was in June. So,
but they don't have a price down there for retailers.
Well, it just means that. Well, yeah, I don't know. Well, if you click on the retailer button, it says $20 through Hatchet. It's just not available on Amazon.
Through Hachette. Yep.
Hachette. Yeah, thank you. Or Card House.
Looking at the board, yeah, it looks like there might be another board that adds to the game board now.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like I said, I just got to play this at the last ladies' night.
In the Footsteps of Darwin.
But yeah, I'd forgotten how much I enjoyed it. It is such a good, simple, lightweight game.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Then there's the Founders. I want to see what they did with it. This is the follow-up to Ice. This is by The Way board game. This Way board games. But yeah, this is like the follow-up to Ice.
Be the Cairo architects masters who build the city of Ice. What the heck?
So yeah, I don't know if it's supposed to be like Ice or anything, but it's the company's follow-up.
Yeah, and it references the city. In the midst of a windswept, snowy landscape, the group of explorers discover a gigantic cave with a massive structure that radiates out from it.
Yeah, it has the little tile pulling off the board, it looks like, or it might be just tiles laying on a flat board. Looking at a picture of the game.
Yeah.
Everybody has a player board. There are tiles laying around. There's looks like little columns that are being placed in the...
Yeah, well, I was reading that, okay. Around this hearth, the master foundations lay the foundation of what will become the city, home of the powerful guilds of Ice. Following the directives of the first Founders Council on the design of the city, as well as the requests from the first guilds, you will design and create this famous city from scratch. Well, that looks intriguing. The board doesn't look that intriguing, but
no.
I don't know.
And it looks like there's like 4 different boxes here.
I don't know. I'd be curious to check it out. But looking at the board, the pictures don't do anything for me. Not compared to the quality in Ice.
Yeah.
The artwork is the same. But yeah, I don't know. I'll be curious to see it.
Yeah. These are just games I want to check out. There are a couple I wouldn't mind picking up.
See how the budget holds out?
Yep. Let's move on. I'm actually skipping the society question because I think there's a question from one of our listeners.
Very similar.
That would be good to have a discussion about.
Okay.
So we're going to move on, and we're going to actually talk about games that we have played, not just games that we're wanting to look at. You want to go first?
Sure. Okay. So I talked about Ladies' Night already. And at Ladies' Night, I got to play several games. We got a game of Project L in. We'll start with this one. I finally got a chance to play the big edition of Castles of Burgundy. Yes. And it plays exactly the same. There's no difference in the way it plays. The biggest thing with this one is the production value. It is all, well, she had the acrylic tiles. So it is acrylic tiles, okay. And it's funny because remember the main reason I didn't want to switch from the version we have the original version of Castles of Burgundy. Original. And when the new version came out, one, I didn't really like the color scheme. But call me crazy. I kind of just like the beige muted colors in the original versus the colors in your face of the second edition.
Right.
Then they came out with, another edition, I thought. I may be confusing editions.
There was no edition after that.
Well, okay, then it just went straight to the special edition?
Yes.
I don't know. By the time this special edition came out, and Castles of Burgundy is one of my favorite games, but by the time this had come out, we had already picked up the big edition of Terraforming Mars. We had picked up the big edition of Castles of Mad King Ludwig. We had picked up the big edition of one of the others that has not come off the shelf but once since we got it, Suburbia.
Oh, yeah.
We had already picked up these 3 big editions, and none of them come off the shelf very often. So we were hesitant to pick up yet another one that would rarely come off the shelf. 1. 2, you didn't care for the game, so there was no point in picking this one up. So, But ever since it did, I've been wanting to play it. So with Castles of Burgundy, just a quick synopsis of the game. It is a tile placement that you're drafting tiles based on a dice roll. Every round of the game, everybody gets 2 dice as an action. Those dice, there are ways to manipulate it. You have workers that can take your dice up and down. There are certain buildings that allow you to rotate, to manipulate your dice as well if you can get them built into your kingdom. Mm-hmm. You are using the dice in one of many fashions. You can use the dice to claim a tile off the board based on its location. There are 6 different docks per se on the board. Each of the docks could potentially have goods on them. So you can use it to claim goods off of the docks. Those goods are the game timer. You literally get 25 turns in the entire game. You've got 5 rounds of 5 turns each. And then each turn involves placing 2 dice. Or using 2 dice, I should say. So you can use it to pick up goods. You can only store 3 different types of goods. There are 6, so you have to be careful what you're storing. At the end of the game, goods are points. So you want to, if you can sell them. If you can sell them, goods are points. You can also use it to claim one of the 4 tiles available on those docks. And those tiles could be anywhere from ships to farm fields to buildings to, oh my gosh, there's several different, there's castles out there. There's mines out there. Mines give you money each round. The castles, once you take them and fulfill an area, they give you extra turn or an extra turn immediately. So each of the tiles do something different. They all score slightly differently. Mm-hmm. Your main board is made up of a grouping of these different tiles, and each board is different. And this is what makes it so interesting is each board is slightly different. Mm-hmm. So you kind of randomly pass out the boards. You slide them into your overlay. This one actually comes with straight up overlays. And this is one of the reasons I didn't want to switch when we first bought ours because I had already bought overlays.
Yes, you did.
That held the tiles in place. And I liked that. And I didn't want to give that up by switching to a new edition.
Mm-hmm. But this one has it?
This one, all the boards are automatic overlays.
Oh.
They're there. So you literally kind of like the boards basically open up and you slide the card inside of it. Kind of like Agents of Smersh.
Oh, okay.
You just slide the cards inside of it, and the board is the overlay. Each player board it has its automatic overlay on it. Okay. So, and I knew that by looking at it. I knew that by looking at the pictures. But again, we go back to the whole: I don't need another big box of something that rarely comes off the shelf. Especially when ours plays literally exactly the same. Mm-hmm. One of the neat things with this is the castles you can play 2 ways. You can either play with the red tiles, or you can put these giant chunky castle pieces out there on your board. It just gives it a 3D look. It was kind of cool. I really enjoyed my play of this. Let me back up just a second because I said you can take tiles off the board. Yes, you take tiles off the board, but then they go into a special area on your board. You have to now have another die in order to take that tile and put it onto your board. So it's like when you take it off the main board out of the dock area, you're reserving that tile. Nobody can build it now but you. But it sits down here in this little reserve area where you can only have 3 tiles. And then on a later turn, or potentially the same turn if you want to use both dice at the same time, you take that and you put it onto your board. Your board is this overlay of regions. So you'll have like 4 of the green fields together, and you'll have 2 of the tan buildings together, and you'll have 3 of the blue rivers together. And every board is different in how they're laid out. Everybody starts with 1 castle on their board automatically, I think. Right?
That's
I don't remember now. No, I think everybody starts with a castle. I could be wrong. I don't remember now. But anyway.
You were just happy to play the deluxe version.
I was just super happy to get to play the deluxe version because Abby had it. She was the one who hosted Ladies' Night last month. I was excited to play it. So, super fun game. I will gladly play this again. I will play this anytime somebody suggests it. I love this game. And I know you do not, so therefore I play it whenever I can.
I've always told you, I will play it if you want to play it. It's not one that I'm going to pull off the shelf.
Okay. I'll remember
Even
that.
though I bought the game originally.
Because
but
it's
we
a
played
Steffenfeld.
it. Yeah, and we played it a lot when we first bought this game.
We did.
The original version of it.
When we get through the Z's.
You'll be like, I want to play Castles of Burgundy.
Until then, I'm just kind of focused on what's coming up. I'm not looking backwards. I'm just looking at what's coming up and what can I play, 1, to further us along our path of the alphabet. But 2, just because we haven't played any of those games coming up in a very long time. So, and I'm anxious to try some.
Some we haven't played at all.
Most we haven't played at all. So I'm just excited to get through the alphabet. Got another year and a half, basically. Year and a half. Anyway, that's Castles of Burgundy, Deluxe Edition. Super excited.
Yep. So I'm going to talk about one. We went to our friend's house for the 4th of July weekend. Well, 4th of July. We weren't there the whole weekend. No. I don't think she could put up with us for the entire weekend.
I don't think she could put up with all of us for the whole weekend
now. She might be able to put up with us, maybe. I don't know. I may drive her nuts enough.
Yeah.
Between me and Doug anyway.
Between you and Doug, she'd kill one of you.
Anyway, but we went to Doug and Sarah's house. These are the people we play our Sunday co-op day with. But we played a game that Kat had brought called Hello Neighbor, the Secret Neighbor Party Game. So this is from 2020. It is designed by Julian Moreno Patel, Ariel Rubin, artist Stephen Gibson, published by Arcane Wonders. Yes, and I know you forgot to say everything about that on yours.
Suck.
This is a 30-minute game, 5 to 10 players. We had 5 players. I'm going to read the description from BGG, give you an idea of what's going on, and then I'll give you my thoughts on this game. Your creepy neighbor has something locked in their basement, and it's up to you and your friends to reveal their plot. You'll need to use objects you find around the neighborhood's house to locate 3 different keys, but there is one problem. Some of your friends are secretly villainous neighbors in disguise. Trade and cooperate as one of the kids, or steal and lie your way to victory as one of the neighbors in this thrilling social mystery card game where you're never quite sure who's on your side. Okay, first thing, this works better with more players and probably works really well with a total of 10.
Right. And
because in 5, you only got 1 key.
Yes.
So we were passing 1 key around.
Yes.
Which means there are 3 kids, 1 neighbor, and 1 secret neighbor.
Now, I did not play this one. And I'll be honest, the reason I didn't play is because when Sarah was reading the rules, she made the comment about, this is like Secret Werewolf, but nicer.
Secret Hitler.
Secret Hitler or Werewolf, but nicer. And I hate both of those games. I despise that type of game. So I just sat out. It wasn't. It was kind of there. It was that secret identity was there.
Yeah, nobody knew who anybody was except for the neighbors.
Except the neighbor knew who everybody was.
Yes.
But that was it. The secret neighbor didn't even know who everybody was. But the neighbor knew. And then we only had 1 neighbor. And that was Ellery. Yes, it was. And he played it well. He did play it very well. I I sat here and watched this, and I thought it actually looked kind of fun. I agree. It would probably be more fun with more players.
It was okay because on the turn in between, there is cards that are passed out. You get
5 cards.
5 cards. And you got to make a match of 3 to be able to have an actual action to do something before we do a guess or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to trade with people to get these. And then, like, say, at the very beginning, I wanted the magnet because I was a kid. So the magnet allows you to take the key and hold on to the key. So when it comes around to that part of the game, you can go ahead and use the key. Mm-hmm. But everybody has to vote on whether you get to use the key or not.
Right.
Me being a kid, that was the whole way the kids won the game, is if the kid had the key when it was time to open up the door.
Right.
I was trying to get the magnet, and Amy was trying to get to the magnet.
You were both kids,
and
but you didn't know it.
I had 1 card of each type of item.
Uh-huh.
And then nobody was trying to trade with me. So I was like, okay, well, I can't remember what it was. I think it was the trash can. I was like, okay, nobody seems to be wanting these trash cans. I'll just take the trash cans. So I started trading trash cans. Trash cans allowed you, if you played your trash can, you picked somebody else and they had to throw their entire hand away. They didn't get to do their action.
Right.
And Kat, who was sitting beside me, was collecting boxes. Boxes allowed you to look in somebody else's hand. Mm-hmm. Or no, got to look at 3 people's identity cards.
I thought Amy did that.
She did. Because I used my trash cans to force Kat to throw away her hand.
Gotcha. Okay. I missed
and
that
then
part.
The next hand, Amy got it and found out who 3 of us were. The bad thing is she looked at Ellery's hand.
Well, no, that's just it. You don't...
Or Ellery's ID. She looked at Ellery, Sarah, and myself.
Right. But she didn't know. She just knew one of you was the neighbor. She didn't know which one.
True. That's
she
true.
Knew there
Because
were
you
2
get it
kids
and you shuffle them up. That's true.
That's true. So she didn't know who it was. She just knew one of you was, which told her automatically Kat was the secret neighbor. So she knew Kat was a neighbor because that was the only one left.
Yeah, and she knew what she was having.
And
that's why I said this game would play a whole lot better at a higher player count. 5 just doesn't work.
No, I don't think
and
5 worked.
I really did not like the game at 5.
Okay. I would be curious to try it higher.
Because you could easily get shut out to be able to do anything.
Yeah.
Because there was 2 rounds I didn't get to do anything.
Right.
Because I could not get any sets.
Right. Because you had to have a set of 3 to do anything.
Well, nobody was willing to trade with me as soon as Ellery started saying, oh, well, he's so-and-so. And I was like, oh, no, we don't want to trade with him then.
You had 4 cards because you had to have a set of 3 to do anything. I remember that now. 4 cards, set of 3 to do anything. Okay. I'm sorry. I was just sitting watching this whole thing.
I don't remember now.
I think it was 4 cards.
There was a magnet, there was a trash can, there was a box, there was a lever, and there was a flashlight. Mm-hmm. I can't remember what the flashlight did, but the lever allowed you to say somebody was going to use the magnet to take a key. You could throw the lever out and say, nope, I'm going to do that instead and take their power from them and get the key from them, basically.
Isn't that what Sarah did to get the key?
That's what Sarah did to
get the key from Amy.
To Amy, yes.
Which, again, they were both kids. It didn't matter who had it, but you don't know.
And I was the 3rd kid, and Ellery was... And
Amy was on to Ellery. Amy knew Ellery was the neighbor. Yes,
I know. And 100% Ellery got me.
Yeah.
Because at one point we were talking and everything, and Ellery goes, well, I'm a kid. I think Greg's the neighbor.
Uh-huh.
I was like, Ellery's a kid? I was pegging him for a neighbor. And it just went over my head thinking, he just set me up because when it came down, Ellery had the key at that time.
Uh-huh.
We went to vote who's going to do it. And he had us thinking maybe it was Amy and Kat. But he pegged me as a neighbor. I was a kid. So when we went to vote, I voted to allow him to open the door. And he goes, all right, well, I'm not going to open the door because I'm the neighbor. So the neighbors won and the kids lost. I was like,
yeah, well, you all voted for him.
Yeah, no, it was me. He voted for himself because you can vote for yourself. Sarah voted and I voted. Kat and
Amy did not
vote.
And Kat was a neighbor.
Yeah, I know. So that's what surprised me that Kat did not vote.
Well, Kat didn't know he was the neighbor. Kat thought he was a kid.
True, because if Kat was the secret neighbor,
she didn't know who anybody was.
Because at the beginning of the game, you get your cards and then you close your eyes, and then the secret neighbor puts their thumb up.
Right.
And then the neighbors wake up to see
Who the secret
to look
neighbor
around
is.
who the other neighbors are. If there's more players, you're going to have
Yeah.
more neighbors, and who the secret neighbor is.
Yes.
And then they close their eyes, and everybody opens up, a la
werewolf. Yeah.
So
That's where it's like werewolf, but
yeah,
there's no elimination. There's none of that type of stuff. So it looked a lot more fun than Werewolf or Secret Hitler to me.
yeah.
So
like I said, it would be a lot better with more players.
I think so too. I
And
agree.
They have 5 on it just to show you that it's a party game.
It can be played at 5, but it's better at higher player
I don't
counts.
I don't think there's enough people. Because like I said, there's 3 keys in the game, but with 5 people, we only got 1 key.
Right.
I was like, geez, how many people you got to have to get all 3 keys? Apparently
Probably
10.
9 or 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably 9 or 10.
So that is the Secret Neighbor Party game, or if you go on BGG, it's Hello Neighbor, the Secret Neighbor Party game.
Yeah. All right. So another one that I got played at Ladies' Night was a game of cat and mouth. This was, and I'm going to do it this time, was published in 2020 by Exploding Kittens. I did not know that. Interesting. By Exploding Kittens. It does not even list a designer or anything, at least not on BGG. And I don't have the box to go look at it. So I unfortunately do not know a designer or artist. The idea with this one, this was just a silly filler game. We were looking for something just to kill some time until another table was opened up, because we had 4 tables going, I want to say. Yeah, we had 4 tables going, and the other tables were close to wrapping up, but not quite there. So Abby went and pulled this out for Tony and I to play until something else opened up and we could start swapping tables around.
This looks ridiculous.
It is. Anyway, this is a 2-player game where, and the description on BGG is a 2-player game in which players use a magnetic cat paw to shoot balls at one another. So everybody there's several, I want to say they were yellow balls. They show yellow balls in here, but I don't think that's what they were. But anyway, everybody has 5 balls of one color. And then there are 3 white balls sitting in the cat mouth in the between. So this is basically a flicking game.
Yeah.
The board is set up. You've basically got a long alley with a 3D cat sitting in the middle, a board of a 3D cat in the middle, or 2-dimensional, I guess, really, with 3 teeth in it and then a black nose.
Yep.
If you can hit the black nose out, you win instantly. That's an instant win.
Yep. And the eyes are actually the scoreboard.
Yes, the eyes are the scoreboards. The idea is you need to get all of the balls into the other player's side before they get them back. So
of your yellow balls?
Of all of them.
All of them, including the black one?
No, if the black is an instant win.
Okay.
But teeth are constantly getting knocked out. So you're not only got the yellow balls, but you have the white teeth that are going back and forth as well. So if somebody knocks a tooth out into your area, you now have to get that over onto the other side as well. And you're trying to get it in through the mouth, which is maybe a 1-inch by 3-inch hole.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just going back and forth like this. And the little paw is at the end. And I'll put some pictures of this on BGG. Unfortunately, I don't know if I have any pictures of us playing. I'll have to look. I think somebody took a picture, so I'll have to pull it off the Facebook page. But the little paw is just it says magnetic. I don't remember it being magnetic, but maybe it's on a spring of some sort. Mm-hmm. Where it and depending on how hard you flick it, depends on where it goes. We were chasing a couple balls around the floor. Let me put it that way. It was fun. We were laughing. It is ridiculous. It is not something I am ever going to own, but it was a fun 10-minute play. I did win it. Yay. Like 5-3 or something like that. I don't remember, but I did win because you play 5 rounds. You play no, I take that back. You play until somebody gets to 5 rounds. Until somebody gets to 5 wins. So I think we played a total of 7 or 8 rounds. I don't remember. I guess I could look. My book is right here, but nonetheless, it was cute. I enjoyed it, but it's not something I will ever play again. It was 5-2. Okay, we played 7 rounds, but that is the game of cat and mouth. A game of cat and mouth. Cute little flicking game.
Okay, a game that we both got to play just a few weeks ago for our playing through our collection. This is a game called Snapshot. It is uncredited as a designer, but the publisher is Kadadko. This is a 2 to 4 player game, 60 minutes, ages 6 and up. and it has a 1.67 weight. So it's not heavy, and trust us, it is definitely not heavy.
No.
So what Snapshot is, if you've ever played Macroscope, and you know how it has a little compartment you open up, this is the same thing, except for I think it's a little cooler.
I think it's a little
because the board itself, when you close the board all up and everything, it looks like a camera, and then you open it up, and there's little doors inside. There's a picture underneath, and then what looks like records, vinyl albums, but smaller, are face down, and they have a number on it. And on your turn, you're going to pick one of those discs up. You're going to turn over, get a number, and you're going to open up that door. And at that point, you get to try and guess what the picture is. There used to be a game show a long time ago.
Something like that,
Concentration, I think.
Oh, I don't
It may have been. I don't remember, which is what all these games remind me of. Anyway, so you're going to open up your door. You're going to look at the picture, try and guess it. If you can't, the next player gets to go. Okay, so scoring in this game, if you can guess the picture, then you got a point. But if you guess the picture wrong, you lose 2 points, I think.
I think it was either 1 or 2, but I'm pretty sure it was 2.
Yeah, because I think it was detrimental if you got it wrong. But I thought it was just interesting because in Macroscope, it was just simple drawings. It was just a black and white simple drawing, outline drawing almost.
Right, and it was only little holes you were looking through. It was literally like you were looking through little pinholes.
Yeah, this one you got little squares, like 1.5 by 1.5 squares.
Yeah, you were like opening
or maybe
a
even
shutter
smaller
up.
than that, though. But yeah, you just open the door up and you look at it.
Yeah,
and these were actually real photos.
Right. And they were grainy black and white photos.
Yes.
Which made it hard
kind of like
sometimes.
Bigfoot photos almost.
Yes.
But I won this game.
I loved this game.
Yes.
I thought it was so much fun.
And this is from 1989.
Yeah.
So
if I had my choice between this one and Macroscope, I would absolutely play this one every
I think
time.
that's what we decided when we talked about it, that I would play this before I'd play Macroscope again.
Yes, I agree.
So that is Snapshot. I don't know if you can find it anymore because it's from 1989. If you do and you see it in a game store,
Goodwill somewhere.
Or Goodwill, yeah, probably more like Goodwill or something. Pick it up, play it. It's not going to hurt.
Or if you ever see us out somewhere, by all means, let us know. We'll bring it.
Yeah, if you're at Gen Con, you want to play this game,
let us know.
Message us. We'll bring it with us so you can sit down and see this game and play it.
Yeah, absolutely. So the last thing I'm going to talk about is one that we just played a couple days ago. Actually, we got to play it on 4th of July. We came home and got in a game of this while we were waiting for the fireworks to die down enough that we could actually sleep.
Yes.
Because, 4th of July, United States.
It sounds like a war zone.
It sounds like a war zone outside. So anyway, we got in a game of So You've Been Eaten. This was released in 2022 by Ludi Creations, I think it's called. Ludi Creations. Anyway, designed by Scott Holmes. I didn't realize Scott Holmes designed this one.
Yeah.
Okay. Artist Kawachi More. Is that pronounced right?
Kawachi More.
Something like that? Okay. Plays in 30 minutes, ages 14 and up. Okay, so how this one is. It's a 2-player game. One player plays the...
Beast.
One player plays the beast.
The other one plays a miner.
The other one plays the miner. The miner's job is to go into the sleeping beast and try to mine crystals that they need out of the digestive system of this beast. All right, so I'm going to read the BGG thing on here first. So you've been eaten. Don't worry, this is simply an occupational hazard. In fact, it is a fairly common among deep space miners, 5th class, and some say that it is almost unavoidable. And, well, it is, especially since the crystals that you seek happen to be inside the giant space beasts. To mine them, you need to, be eaten. So, no reason to panic. We are here to help you deal with the physical and mental challenges of being eaten. This handy simulation survival guide is standard issue for all recruits and will eventually lead to a productive, if not potentially brief, career in space mining. Not at all disturbing.
Yes.
Should you achieve your objective and mine enough crystals to meet your quota, it is then cost effective for the company to activate your jetpack and extricate you from the proverbial belly of the beast. While the beast's immune response was not enough to prevent its demise, contribution to human progress and corporate profitability are most definitely appreciated. And it goes on from there. This game totes as being able to be played 0 to 2 players. There are solo mode AIs for both the beast and for the miner. So if you really want to, you can play the two AIs against each other, and all you got to do is flip the cards. That seems really silly to me, but okay. I mean, you could see what happens. I can see that might be interesting. So the idea with this one is there is a digestive tract that the miner is working his way through, trying to find the 8 crystals. The beast has a hand of, I want to say it was 7 cards. His hand includes cards that have both tools on it that if the miner can get a hold of, will help them. It also has the crystals on them, which will help the miner, which is what the miner's looking for. But it also has various forms of germs.
Bacteria.
The bacteria, thank you. And the bacteria is for every, I'm trying to figure out the best way to explain this game. The track includes 7 cards.
Yes.
You are rolling 3 dice. So the miner on their turn gets basically 3 actions. The dice dictate the cards they can affect with their actions.
Yes.
Now, mind you, the dice only go 1 to 6. There is a 7th card on the track you can't get to without doing something that allows you to increase the value of a die to a 7, which I had to do a couple times. As the miner, my goal was to get a hold of the gems I needed. And I think I got a hold of 5 of them before I got digested. So you're trying to use the dice. You can use the dice to grab, like if I have a 5 and the 5th card in the row has a gem on it, I can use the 5 to grab that gem, and that card leaves the game. And that hole remains there for the moment. So it doesn't slide down, so I can get to card 7 easier, unfortunately. I could use it to potentially blow up or to take out some of the bacteria. I can use one card, like say I had a 4, and the 2, 3, and 4 were all the same color bacteria. I could aim at the 4, and because of this power, I could take out the 3 as well because it was next to it. But if I had a 3, then I could take out the 4 and the 2 as well because they were all the same color. I never got to take out all 3. I did get to take out 2 at once, but I never could line it up right. There are cards that will allow you to grab a certain card and push it to the end and thus pull everything else forward just a little bit. So you could line up cards to take out more than one at one time or to get a hold of that crystal you need or that tool you need. The tools, basically, if you spent a die to get a hold of a tool, it allowed you to do a one-time action that didn't involve a die, which was kind of nice. It was pretty interesting. I was surprised how much I enjoyed it. I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did.
Yeah. I was thinking, oh, this is a head-to-head. We're not going to enjoy this because it's going to be
Right.
take that. There was one part of that, the BGG thing that you didn't finish reading.
Did I not read all? Did
Yeah,
I not read
I
all the
liked
good
it. It
stuff?
says, in the eventuality that the bacteria present in the beast overwhelms you and you are digested, do not worry. Your non-organic parts will ultimately provide much utility to future space miners. In fact, you may encounter some such pieces of equipment in your expeditions. Thus, the tools that you find
Yes.
inside, that just makes it totally different.
Remains of attempts by eventually less than qualified recruits. Evidently less than qualified
Then
recruits.
finally, it could transpire that you do not collect the necessary crystals by the time you reach the end of the beast's digestive tract. In this case, the so-called ending number 2, you will then exit the beast from the other end than the one you entered, alive and yet forever changed. In this case, after a thorough decontamination and quarantine period, we will have to evaluate your performance versus that of the beast's efforts to consume you. I'm like, oh, geez. But yeah, that puts a whole different spin on seeing, because I'm like going, how do these tools get in here? And then I read that, I was like going, that makes perfect sense.
Yep.
These are miners that didn't quite get out and were digested, and
Yep.
these are the tools that stayed.
Well, and there's
that makes it even more disgusting.
It does. Yes, it does. There's a couple ways this game ends. It can end by successfully getting all 8 of them and your jetpack being activated and you get out. Done. Miner wins. Great. It can end by, if the miner can wear down the beast's deck of cards and not have all 8 of the crystals, you get out, and then it's just points at that point. The number of crystals I managed to find And then I think the beast got points for something minus the number of crystals still held in their hand, which means they can't just hold on to crystals.
Right.
They have to get them out of their hand or they're negative points at the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
There's only 2 cards of each crystal in the entire game. So if you let one go, you got to look for that second one. You only get 2 chances to get it.
Did you talk about the
No.
virus card that I have?
No.
That the beast has a deck of cards that he picks from and chooses one of the bacteria and lays it face down. And at the end of the miner's turn, because at the end of the miner's turn, whatever bacteria is closest to you will attack the miner, and then the beast gets to raise up that track one.
Right.
And if they get 4 of those of the same type attacking you,
color.
the miner is digested.
So it behooves the miner not to leave the same card in the front
Mm-hmm.
because that card's going to keep attacking him.
Yeah. But then if they match up, the card that I laid down saying that one's the one that was going to attack you, I can't remember exactly what happened.
If I had any upgrades, because I could
that's
upgrade
right.
some of my abilities.
It turned one of your
It turned one of my upgrades off. If I did not have any upgrades activated,
then you lost a crystal.
then I lost a crystal.
And I was trying so hard to get you to lose those crystals because you had so many of them.
I did. I only had 5 of the 8.
And it pretty much ended up.
You hit 4 yellow or 4 red or something like. No. You hit 5 of those other cards because in addition, there are cards the beast could buy with energy points, and to get the energy, he had to discard cards out. He used the number of crystals in the track, which means it behooved me to keep those crystals down and to
then
take
any
them.
cards in my hand that did not have a crystal on it.
Right. You could not
for energy.
discard crystal cards because I had to have the ability to get them.
Correct.
But you could discard the other cards, the tool cards and the non-special cards, which again made you run through your deck faster. So that helped. It helped you in being able to use that energy to buy a special ability for yourself.
Yes.
It helped me by burning through that deck faster.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't help me though. Because once you got 5 of those special powers, and I had an upgrade that would allow me to take those out,
but you couldn't
get that upgrade activated.
No.
I could. Everything I tried, I just couldn't. It just didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So you ended up getting 5 of those, and that ended the game.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I thought it was fun. I would be willing to play this again.
Yes, and there's a little mini expansion in the box.
Yeah,
so,
we didn't even look into it, so I have no idea
so
what
I'd
it does.
love next time we get it out, because I do want to try it where I'm the miner and you're the beast, so we both get to see what both sides are.
Yes.
Who knows? Maybe we'll do a playthrough of this.
I think that would be a fun playthrough.
And put it up as a video.
Yeah, I think it'd be a fun playthrough. It was an interesting little game. All right, so that's mine.
Last one that I have on our list. We played this on our most recent Cooperative Sundays with Doug and Sarah. This is Sherlock Holmes Baker Street Irregulars. This is a game that you got at work through a little thing during 2020 that they gave you. So you go in this catalog, they give you a certain amount of credits, and you go in there and you buy. And you picked this up because
it was supposed to be snack foods and stuff, and it was a snack food company, and this showed up.
And you found this game.
Okay,
this
I didn't
game.
Want the snacks, so
this game, our version is from Van Ryder Games. This is designed by Cedric Asna. Artist is Grenlin. This is a Sherlock Holmes game, but it is a graphic novel game where each player, there's 4 players, gets their own book. And that's all there is. And that's the only game components in the entire game.
Yeah,
it comes in one of those
book.
It's like a video cassette, a VHS cassette case size.
Yeah.
But it has a little magnetic flap on it and everything. And then it has that little ribbon to pull the books out and everything. And all that's in there is the 4-player books.
4-player books and a rule book with a map on it.
The book is set up like a comic book, but each frame is numbered. So this is like choose your own adventure type of book almost. But everybody has the same beginning on the book. You read the beginning. Somebody is like the team captain or whatever.
Yeah, I was voted for that. I don't know how that happened.
But you read the beginning of the book, and then it comes to this picture where there's numbers, and the numbers are the different grids that you can go to see different things, to go to the different rooms or different pages to continue the adventure. But on each of those pictures that everybody's at, everybody could see numbers that other people couldn't. Like if I went to an area and I could say, hey, I see a 61 there, and everybody's like, I don't see a 61. Nobody else could see a 61. Well, that was meant for me to go investigate.
That was meant for that character.
So I would go to slide 61 in the book and look and see what was there, and then I could tell them what was going on. And this is if there was another number there, then okay, I can go on to this next number. Now, everybody follows you, and then eventually you'll get back to where you started at, but you're trying to investigate. Sherlock Holmes has called you into his office to say, hey, I don't remember exactly what was going on. I don't want to give up the plot.
No.
Because this is one of those one and dones that pretty much, I mean, you could put it back on your shelf for a couple years and then bring it back out and play it again because you'll probably forget it by then.
Yeah, but I feel like even those types of games, once you've played it once, you start going through it.
You're
going to remember hints of what happened.
Yeah. It's one of those, everybody has their book. Everybody has the same pages. Everybody has the same grids, but those grids may be a little bit different.
Everybody's book is just slightly
the one is
different.
Like going, who's going to grab that item or whatever it is? And it's like, well, I'll go grab it because I have that number on it. And then when you look at that slide, everybody looks at that same slide in their books. Everybody sees their own hand from their character grabbing that part. Like when I seen the guy, I played the big guy. I would see the blue shirt with the hands all taped up like for a fist or whatever. And I knew it was me. And I was like, oh, look, it's even me that's doing it. So we did it right. And everybody's like, no, it's my hand there. And no, it's my hand there.
Yeah. It was designed to play up solo, in which case you play one person. You don't play all four. Because that would, God, can you imagine playing all four?
Well, this says 1-4.
Yeah, no, it's 1-4. But if you play solo, pick a character, and that is the only book you get.
Yes.
Some characters are specialized in certain things and not in others. But the book, we like the fact that the book gives every player a way to get there.
Yes.
It just may be a different way than somebody else.
Yeah.
You may not have the same shortcut somebody else does.
Yeah. And I like in there how they have the whole... There's puzzles, number puzzles and stuff you got to put or codes that you got to crack to get to different things to open up to be able to solve the problem.
You had that escape room feel to it in some cases.
We solved the problem somehow without going to a vital point we needed to go to. So we basically kind of like, okay, that's it. And we started reading how it was. I was like, well, how did they get there? So we backtrack through. We never even went here. How did we get to here?
We discovered we completely missed an entire piece of text on one of the things. All four of us. Yeah. All four of us had that piece of text on our book.
Yes.
And all four of us missed it somehow.
Yep.
All I can say is if you ever play one of these graphic novels, read everything.
Look at everything.
Oh, my gosh. So
let everybody know what numbers you're seeing, because that's what we started doing. Every time we went in the room, we was like, okay, I see this number, this number, this number, this number, this number. It's like, and I see this number.
Specialized numbers were in a bright different green or something.
Yeah, and it was a little bit of a different font too.
Yeah, a little different font. Like they were almost like neon. Like somebody had lit up a neon light.
So we go through with the basic number. Everybody can see them. It's like, okay, I see this number as well.
Anybody else see a special number?
No, but I see this number. And then everybody's like, okay, so I can go look at this. You go look at that.
And let's get back together and figure out what we got.
Yep.
We ended up passing this on to Kat and her family.
Yeah.
Another friend of ours. And I'm excited to hear their take on it. I thought it was pretty fun.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I did not expect to enjoy it. It's been sitting on our shelf for 5 years. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I figured we played the first, because there's three scenarios.
There's four total. We did
yeah.
not play the fourth one because it was kind of just figure out the key phrase or something type of event. So we ran out of time. We didn't play that one.
Ovaltine.
Right.
I know when we played the first one, I figured, okay, we'll at least get the first one done.
Yeah.
And then you said, do you want to go again? And Doug and Sarah both like, sure, yeah, let's do this next one. Then we got it. It was like, okay, we didn't win the second one.
We did not win the second
one.
It's
like, okay. And I figured, okay, we'll stop. We'll play something else. And they go, no, let's do this other one. It's like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah, it was fun.
I love how it looks like a comic book.
It does.
It doesn't read like a comic book.
No.
But it looks like a comic book.
It was fun.
But it's really cool.
Yeah.
So if you get a chance to play Sherlock Holmes, Baker Street Irregulars, do so. It's a lot of fun. It doesn't look like much, but it's a lot of fun.
Well, and I know they did a couple others in that line.
Mm-hmm.
Not Sherlock Holmes ones, but like I think the first one was a pirate. It was just more campy than that. Just
Yeah.
And I don't know what the third one was, but I remember reading somewhere or hearing somewhere that there were more in the line besides just Sherlock Holmes. But yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun.
We actually have some comments and questions. So the first one comes from our buddy Bruce from the Facebook group. He asked, is there any upcoming games you are excited for?
I don't know. I don't. And I know you go out and you look at all these things and you always know what's coming. I don't do that. So I don't know.
You pretty much go with whatever I say.
Right. Well, and it's not even so much what you say, because I do see some on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually things I've seen somebody playing on, if I've been flipping through YouTube or something, because I will typically just put YouTube on in the background on my desk when I'm working, just for noise, especially when I'm working from home. When I'm working in the office, who needs that extra noise? But when I'm working from home, by about 10 o'clock, it gets really quiet in the house because by that point I've been the only one home for 3.5 hours. So I usually turn on something just for background noise, and it's usually YouTube of some sort. But I don't know. There were a few that you talked about that I'm curious about. The Lightning Train, I'm definitely curious about checking that one out. And of course, some of those expansions I'm curious about checking out. But I don't pay attention to the new stuff coming out. And I thought I remember seeing one a couple weeks ago, and now I don't remember. Tells you how much I pay attention to this. I don't remember what it was I saw.
Nice.
Yeah. Sorry, Bruce. I'm not much help.
I do want to see. I am really interested in seeing the new Quirkle. I mean, I know it's just a simple game, and if you've never played Quirkle, it's such a simple game and it's such a fun game.
Yeah.
To play, though, I'm really interested to see how this thing works. And like I said, the train game, definitely the train game. I do want to see what the new maps are for Ark Nova.
Yes, I'm excited to get that. Oh yeah, I know what you meant. Arnak,
Lost Ruins of Arnak,
and we've already ordered it.
Yeah,
I'm excited to get it and to dig into it and be able to put everything into it.
Yeah,
because our box is kind of busting at the seams right now. Everything's in there, but it's busting at the seams.
But other than that, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of let down with all the demos that were out for Gen Con this year. When I go through the list, it just doesn't sound interesting. That doesn't sound interesting. And a lot of them are older games. I'm going, I don't know. Well, and then going through the list, I came up with like 13 or 14 games that I was interested in looking at. And the rest was like going,
I don't know. We'll see. I'll be curious when we do our wrap up what we found that we didn't expect. Yeah. We always find something we didn't expect, whether it be an older game or a newer game, and that we liked. But Skyport looks good. I do like Grand Central Skyport. That one looks really good. I'll be curious on that one too.
Let's do the. You want to read the next question?
Sure. This came in yesterday on a YouTube video I had just placed out. Episode 85 of Playing Through Our Collection, part 5 of the yeses, I believe. We were talking about sleeping gods in this one. So this brought up this question. And this came from Anna and followed by a bunch of letters and numbers. So Anna, my husband loves the idea of campaign games, but can never commit the time to the learning curve involved. I could totally get that. I feel like we have so many now, it would be great to start somewhere. Since you've played them all, which one should we start with? Jaws of the Lion, Distant Skies, Sleeping Gods, or Sleeping God Dungeons? I was thinking Jaws of the Lion or Distant Skies. Thanks for your help. And this got us really talking yesterday.
To the point where we said, stop, we must talk about this on the podcast.
Yes, so it's like, wait. Save this for the podcast. Because, okay, Jaws of the Lion we talked about a while back. That is a Gloomhaven, that is the Gloomhaven prequel, basically. And it was very good in the fact it taught you how to play the entire game. By the time you finished game 5, you got all of the rules in little pieces.
Yes.
And by the end of game 5, you knew all the rules, or at least most of them.
And everybody said if you ever want to play Gloomhaven, play Jaws of the Lion first, because Jaws of the Lion will teach you the game better.
Yes. We did play that at 4-player with my brother and his wife, Joe and Tony. And I enjoyed it. I know by the end of it, you were losing
halfway
interest.
Through, I was kind of bored with it.
I was still enjoying the storyline.
Mm-hmm.
I liked what it did with the card play, the alternate power, you play 2 cards on every turn. Initiative is based on the numbers on your card. So
the lowest card number.
You may think you're going to go first in a round with a card of 20, but then somebody else plays a 5.
Mm-hmm.
And now you may end up being last at a 20. Who knows? But you could only have so many cards in your hand, and some cards required that once you used that specific power, you had to throw it away. So little by little, your hand size decreased. And when you ran out of cards, you were out of the game.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't do anything else. You had to be able to play
and you
2
couldn't
cards
tell
on every
the
turn.
other players what the number on your card was.
You could not, because that would affect other people.
Yeah.
All you could do is say, I think I'm going fairly early in the round.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm definitely going late in the round.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But the cards were all split in 2, and top and bottom. And you played 2 cards per turn. 1 card
You played the top.
you played
half.
the top power, and the other card you had to play the bottom, or vice versa. But you couldn't play 2 bottoms or 2 tops at the same time. But again, some of those powers required that if you used it, you had to get rid of the card, not just discard it. It was out of the game for the rest of the round, for the rest of that night. I do enjoy this one, absolutely. However, I'm really enamored with Sleeping Gods right now. I think there's a bigger learning curve to it, but I'm very enamored with it.
I think my problem with the
Jaws of the Lion.
Jaws of the Lion is because it was set. You went here, you went here, you went here, you went here, and there was a little bit of you could choose after the dungeon was over.
When the dungeon was over, you got to choose which direction you were going for the next game.
Yeah,
based on your decisions.
Yeah, but Sleeping Gods, it's an open world, and you can pretty much saying go to this one area. And it's like going, it will lead you to someplace else. But it's like, well, we're real close to looking at this item over here that we already have a card for. So we're going to go over there for right now. And then we might make it back there. Because one of the cards, it may send you on the other side of the map.
Yeah.
Like way, way, way away. And you're passing everything else up. And I think I'd like the more open world. But that's my own opinion.
Right. I did not care for open world when we played the Western Legends. But in Sleeping Gods, I really enjoyed that open worldness.
Maybe we should play Sleeping or Western Legends again.
Well,
and
the W's are coming.
Yes, I know.
I'm going to have to. But I really enjoyed, and maybe it was the fact that Western Legends is not cooperative. Sleeping Gods is.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that could be a big part of it, is that there was a decision process.
And maybe that's your problem with Firefly, too, that you don't like it as much as I do.
Maybe.
Because Firefly is an open world game.
Firefly is totally open world, and I do enjoy that.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, it's not, I enjoy the game, but it's not one of my favorites. But it's not a campaign type like we're talking here. If you go with the 2 Sleeping Gods, now Sleeping God Dungeons is an expansion of sorts. It's an add-on to the base Sleeping Gods. It is not a to my knowledge, it is not a stand.
We have it. We just haven't
have not opened it
up
yet.
Yeah.
So I don't know yet. That's one of those we're saving for one of our cooperative Sundays. We're going to dig into that, but it'll be down the road.
We got a whole nother campaign to go through first.
So the difference with Sleeping Gods and Sleeping God Distant Skies, they're both open world. They're both cooperative. Same basic play.
Mm-hmm.
But Sleeping Gods Original, you have 9 characters you're dealing with. Depending on the number of players, you're playing 9 different characters, and you have to use all of them.
Yes.
We played 4 players, so it wasn't a problem.
So
we each took 2. It was,
and then
we were
there was
fine.
the captain.
Right. Sleeping Gods Distant Skies only has 5. 4 plus the captain.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we played that one 2-player. We're going to be playing it 4-player, so it may play totally different. I don't know yet. Yeah. But 2-player, we each took 2, and then there was the captain. So it was really no different for us. If it's just you and your husband playing, that might make a difference to you. Do you want to keep track of 4 players each, or 4 characters each plus the captain? Or do you want to just keep track of 2 to start with?
Mm-hmm.
Movement between the 2, regular Sleeping Gods, you moved on a ship and then you went ashore once in a while. Distant Skies, you trekked on foot for most of the game, and then every once in a while you would board the plane and fly to a new page. But there were ways you could call the plane to you if you moved through pages without it.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, you got to keep that plane healthy or you're in trouble.
Yeah.
But then again, the ship's the same way. You got to keep the ship healthy or you're in
Yeah,
trouble.
but the ship doesn't have the ship. There is the one, the monster in the waters that could come up, but the plane.
The plane takes damage from other things.
Yeah,
and you had to keep track of fuel levels.
Yeah, there's bandits and everything that will try and take out your plane too. So
I don't know. Between the two, if you're just playing 2-player, and here's another big difference between the two. Sleeping Gods, you dealt out so many of the event cards, and that was a gameplay.
Yes.
That was one session. You played 3 sessions, and then the game was over. The scenario, the campaign, or the scenario set was over. We didn't get very far in 3 sessions. We literally have to go back and play another 3 sessions on that one to get where we were. I don't remember if we reset everything or not. I'd have to open that box and look. But Distant Skies,
it's one big campaign.
There's one base storyline.
Yes.
You have a goal.
With 1,000 side shoots.
Yes. You have a goal. The deck of cards, you literally have an entire deck of cards of event stuff that you draw one at the start of every person's turn.
Yeah, which could be a side adventure.
Yes. But it literally tells you if you run out, just reshuffle. There is no timer on your game. You play for as long as you want to or as short as you want to. We literally left this set up on our table for 3 days and just came back to it the next night after dinner and played for another hour until we had to, clean it up to record it. But I felt like that was a little easier to manage because it was easier on our time, if that makes sense. I didn't feel like I had to play a 3-hour game to get to the end of my 8 or 9 cards in that adventure deck. We played until, okay, it's bedtime. Let's close it down for tonight. We'll pick this up tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I liked that. I liked being able to just keep moving on the map as far as I wanted to go inland someplace and then get to a place where I could just call the plane to me.
Right.
I did like that.
Yeah, as long as you still had that, because the pilot
was
an actual object card or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I don't remember what they called them, but everybody gets so many cards, and you continue getting more throughout the game. And every time you rest, you shuffle these up and you re-deal out the ones that have already been used. Yeah. And these give you extra skill points and stuff like that.
So when you call for the pilot to bring the plane to you, he's got to go to the area on the map where the thing's at, and it could be 4 squares away from you, 4 places away from you. But once you do that, you get rid of that card. It goes in the discard pile, and you don't get it back until you rest.
Yes.
So,
and resting is one of the timers in the game. The number of times you rest determines the length of the game.
Yeah. Every time you rest, it's like
the length.
You cross out a campfire.
The length of the scenario.
Yeah.
Because the game, it literally tells you can just pack up your game and come back to it another day. We just left it sitting on the table. Luckily, even though we have cats, none of them go in the game room if we're not there. So they only want to be in the game room if we are.
We are currently doing, the next one is continuing role player.
Yes, Role Player Adventures is a great campaign game. It is a kind of hefty investment, though. The base game is a good chunk of money.
Yeah.
But we've been very much enjoying that one, too.
Yeah, and we got the final expansion to it.
Yes.
Well,
the newest expansion. There's another one coming.
There's another one that just hit Kickstarter.
It's coming. It's not out yet. So the newest one that's out, we have now.
The latest one that was out.
But what I was going to say, though, if you're wanting Sleeping Gods, but maybe want to try it on a smaller scale to start with, you might look into getting Primeval Peril.
Yeah.
It's not an expensive game. I think we paid $35 for it.
Yeah.
It's specifically designed for 2 players. You've got 4 characters you're playing, again, just like Distant Skies. But it's a one-shot game. But it will teach you the rules. In just a one-shot game. And then you can take that same rule set and go into either Sleeping Gods or Distant Skies and just adjust a couple things.
Yes.
So that might be something worth looking into, too, if you want to dig further into Sleeping Gods. I love the stories of Sleeping Gods. They are fantastic stories. But yeah, I would recommend personally looking into Primeval Peril to start with.
And yeah, I did enjoy that because you don't feel so overwhelmed with all
the size of the world
and everything.
Yes, you don't feel overwhelmed with the size of the world because it's a one-shot game. But yeah, it's well worth it. I think, and it's one of those, we'll play it again because quite frankly, we lost it. So we will play again and try to win it next time.
So that's our thoughts?
Yeah.
Hopefully I answered your question. If not, stick around because we're going to do our first look on Sleeping Gods, Distant Skies.
And I forgot about that, or I would not have talked so much about it.
Why don't we get into that?
Okay.
First look, Sleeping Gods, Distant Skies.
All right, Sleeping Gods Distant Skies came out in 2023, plays 1 to 4 players. I like this. Ages 13 and up, anywhere from 60 minutes to 600 minutes. Is that how long it's going to take us to get through to solve the campaign?
I don't know. We'll find out.
Crap. Anyway, published by Red Raven Games, art and design were done by Ryan Lockett. Sleeping God Distant Skies. If you were just listening to us answering Anna's question and didn't just skip straight ahead to this, you kind of have a base idea. But we'll go over it again just in case, if I can remember it all again. But I'm going to read the description. San Francisco, 1937. Your cargo plane flies through a portal in the sky, transporting you to a rugged landscape filled with bizarre creatures, scheming gods, and untold dangers. But can you find your way back before the portal closes? That's the brief description of the theme of Distant Skies. This is a standalone sequel in the world of Sleeping Gods. So as far as I can tell, it all happens in the same world. This one seems much more, it seems like a different part of the world, if you know what I mean, because there's more snow involved here than there was in
there's
Sleeping
snow,
Gods.
there's forests, and there's deserts in this area. Must be the United States.
Right. As in the original game, you and your friends trek through the vast landscape as you read branching storylines and meet vital characters. But in this game, you interact with an atlas on a deeper level, camping, exploring, overcoming obstacles, and searching for lost relics. The new action system allows you even greater agency while you travel and explore. They did change up the action system on this one. Before, you got your action tokens that gave you the ability to use your skills during skill checks.
Yeah.
But you had to do different things on the ship to get those. And there were limits in the game. There was only so many available in the game.
Yeah.
One person could have 5, one person could have 2. It just depended on what you did on the ship. In here, everybody has 3 and a maximum of 3. And as you spend them, they just get set aside. You don't get them back till you sleep. You can't just go do something to get them back. You don't get them back till you sleep.
Or rest,
till you rest. And resting is one of the timers of the game. When the party rests, it's not an individual choice, it's a party choice. When the party rests, then everybody gets all 3 of their little action tokens back. And then everybody gets some health back. You have the chance to do extra healing. You can get rid of afflictions, things like that. There's various things that happen when you rest. But you get those action tokens back. And I know that's not what they're actually called. For the life of me, I don't remember what they're called. But they allow you to add your skill level to various skill checks.
Yeah.
And then every time you do that, you have to give one up. But they did change that up in this game. That's one of the biggest changes other than the number of players. This one only has a total of 5 characters versus 9 characters in the original game. Now, we played the original game with, as I said, we played it with 4 players, so we only had 2 each, plus the captain. It was no big deal. This one, there's only 4 players anyway. So when we play it 4-player, each of us will have 1 character to manage and then the captain. So when you've used up all your stuff, you're kind of just sitting there till the party decides to rest. There's nothing much you can do. And I don't know if I'm going to like that or not. We'll see.
They're called adventure cards, by the way.
Well, no, I wasn't talking the cards. Yes, the adventure cards. The adventure cards are something different. I'm talking the little cardboard discs that you have to give up when you do special
Yes, I know,
actions.
but when you rest, you shuffle up all the used adventure cards
and shuffle.
Yes,
I know.
I cut in there right out of the blue.
I hadn't even talked about those. Okay,
I had been the whole time I'd been looking to remember what the names were.
Okay, so the adventure cards that he just mentioned, the game starts with 6 of them, and you distribute them amongst the players. So if you have an even number of players, somebody's going to end up with extras. These adventure cards have different things. Like, for instance, one of them is the pilot of the plane.
Eugene Coleman.
I'll come back to him. There are others that just simply give you a special ability of some sort. And I'm not looking at them, so I'm totally going off memory here. But there are ones that give you skill points you can use towards something.
Yeah.
You can use this card to add 1 to your perception, or
Yeah.
to add 1 to your cunning, or to add 1 to your strength, whatever.
Yeah, there were 6 adventure cards,
Yes.
starting adventure cards, and they were first aid kit.
Okay.
There's a list here, and it doesn't tell me exactly what they do, though.
Okay.
There's a first aid kit. There was a stew, and I know the first aid kit and stew got
Get health
back.
Yep.
There was the binoculars. There was Mikra's aid, which gave you more of the icons you needed.
Yes.
Eugene Coleman was the pilot, and then there was a basic gear, which and all these I think had icons on them
that you could use to help boost skills.
And then in that adventure card deck, there was also weapons.
Yes. So there is a deck that is, it's not even a timer. There is a deck of cards that you pull 1 each round.
Mm-hmm.
And in that is various scenarios. And that's not even the cards you were talking about. But anyway, you pull 1 card at the start of each turn. And that basically tells you what happens at the start of your turn. It could be a call for a special skill. Something happens overnight, blah, blah, blah. You have to pass this skill or somebody takes damage.
Quest cards.
Whatever, quest cards. Thank you. So you get through that and then you continue on. As you are doing stuff on the map, you are being told to go to certain sections in the book. And as you're reading these out, depending on your decisions in the game, you'll be told to either grab cards, you'll be told to go to different sections, you'll be told to go back to your party. You failed. Whatever. As you're doing this, though, you're pulling cards from a box of cards, essentially. And some of those are more adventure cards. There's combat cards in there because this one changes up the combat system as well. Sort of. Before, you just used your skills in the base Sleeping Gods. And I liked the combat system in this much better. There's a combat deck that has to have a minimum of 14 cards in it, and it starts with 14 cards. But as you are going through the adventure, you're finding more of them, that you can put these better weapons into the combat deck and take out some of the weaker ones. You can leave them in if you want, but you have to have a minimum of 14 in there. So if you get 2 combat cards on an adventure, get rid of 2 of the weaker ones you don't want to use. I'll come back to the combat deck, back to the adventure cards. But every once in a while, you will find another adventure card, and it tells you to add this, to give it to whoever just found it, or to whatever. And that is yet another card that you now have that you can use during that day till you rest again. Once you've used up all your cards, and not even once you've used up your cards, let me rephrase that. As you use your cards, as you use them to gain extra skill points, or you use them to heal somebody up quickly because they're getting pretty low, or you call the pilot to you, you've used Eugene. And again, I'll come back to Eugene. Hopefully I'll remember. You discard the cards. As you can tell, I have no notes. I'm totally going off the top of my head here. You discard all your cards into one spot on the board. When you rest, you take that stack of cards that you've all discarded, you shuffle them up, and whoever's turn is next, you start with that person and you deal those cards out one by one. So some players may end up with 4 of them, especially if they didn't spend any of theirs. Others may only have 1 because they had to spend all of theirs for some reason. Eventually it all cycles out. Nobody's going to have the same cards the whole game. You end up using them quite often because they're handy cards, especially if you're getting ready to rest. Use up those ones that give you health back. Goodness. That's one thing that happens when you rest. When you rest, you also get some health back. You can 4 different afflictions. I don't remember. There's a few afflictions that can happen. Poison, low morale. I can't remember any of the others now. But anyway,
I will find them for you.
Okay, you go for that. There are different afflictions you can gain throughout the game, and a couple of the characters have ways to remove those afflictions if they spend their action tokens.
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
There is Frightened. That's the one with the little chicken on it.
Okay.
Which is perfect.
That
I
is
love
perfect.
That. Madness.
Okay.
Venom.
Okay.
Low morale.
Okay.
And weakened.
Okay. So poison was venom. Gotcha. Okay,
Yes.
so there's 5. But when you heal, when you rest, somebody is automatically healed of one of those afflictions. So don't waste your action tokens on healing everybody because when you rest, somebody gets rid of one anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And there are other things that may happen that may remove them, but there's a lot more things out there that are going to give them to you.
Yes.
Okay, so you progress through everything. I'm going to come back to Eugene now. The way you move around the board is literally just a spiral bound book, which in this particular case, I think works well. I'm not a big fan of the spiral bound books. I didn't particularly care for that in Jaws of the Lion. I prefer the tiles in this case, but I get the reason for the spiral bound book in Jaws of the Lion because they were trying to make a smaller, more usable version of the game.
Yes.
Got it. In this game, it works because you're moving around this map so much. It would be impossible to have
a board that size
with that kind of detail on it. So you're moving around the map and you do have an overall sheet of paper, small version of the map that gives you where numbers are and everything. So you can kind of at least get an idea of where you need to go. But as you're moving around the map, the party ventures off on foot to different areas.
And leaves the plane behind.
And leaves the plane behind because the plane cannot land everywhere.
No.
You leave Eugene with the plane, who is the pilot, and venture off. And if you can either come back to the plane, okay, or you can venture on to the next page. And hopefully there's a landing spot over there. But if you can get to a landing spot, you can call Eugene to you. And provided Eugene is still a card in somebody's hand and you haven't used him for something else, then he can literally meet you in that location with the plane, which is very handy. But there is a separate board that keeps track of what page the plane is on, and not every page has a landing spot. You might find yourself traveling 2 or 3 pages on foot before you get to a landing spot.
Yeah, there's like what?
I think there's 6 landing spots. Yeah.
And then there are others that could come up through the adventure cards.
Yeah.
That come out and they could be unexplored, and the only way there to get there is
by plane.
The plane.
Yeah. So, yeah, they're not even on the book, I don't think. I don't know. We didn't get there.
No, but I think we got one.
Did we? I know we got one, but we never went and explored it.
No, we never went and explored it.
All right. So the combat. Let me come back to that. I think that's the last real piece of the game. So combat in this one, you have a combination of cards and book. In the original Sleeping Gods, it was all cards. When we played Primeval Peril, it was all of the monsters were in the book itself. They were all pages in the book. In this one, it's a combination. Your basic combat is all going to be done on cards. The big boss monsters are in the book. We didn't have to fight one of those, thank goodness.
No.
We saw that and we went the other direction very quickly. When you come across combat, you pull the cards out of the box. Sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 3. You shuffle them up and you place them next to each other. Because as you're doing combat, you can do what's called splash damage. And splash damage allows you to focus on one creature, but accidentally slice through another one as you're going. And you can kind of carry over some of the damage to another creature.
Yes.
Each creature has a 3x3 grid on the bottom of their card. Gorgeous artwork on the top, 3x3 grid on the bottom. And that 3x3 grid encompasses many things. It encompasses their damage that they do to you. It encompasses their health. It encompasses any of their special powers, i.e., if they hit you if you don't take them out or you don't take care of the part that's doing venom, they're going to hit you with venom at the end of the round.
Yes.
You want to take that out. So you take that combat deck. You deal to each player the number of cards for the characters they are in charge of, +1. So in a 2-player game, we were each in charge of 2 characters. One person had the captain. Whoever was controlling the captain would get 4 cards. The other player would get 2 cards, or 3 cards. I'm sorry, 3 cards. The number of characters you're controlling +1.
Yes.
And then from those cards, you could only use 2. Even if you were controlling the captain, you could only have 2 of your 3 characters activate. Not all 3 could activate in one turn. But you could decide who was going to do it. You would play 2 of your cards, play them on specific characters, and then combat was done in whatever order the players deemed necessary. It was not round robin. It was not you go, then you go, then you go, then you go. It was whatever player order the players deemed necessary. So maybe it was beneficial for me because I could take out some of the damage receptors for me to go first. I would do what I could and then take a brunt of the damage. And then maybe one of Greg's characters needed to go next because he could potentially do 5 or 6 damage to this thing and hopefully take out more of its damage receptors so it couldn't keep doing more damage.
Yeah.
So we would be able to go back and forth. Maybe both of mine would go first because I could take out some of the excess damage it was doing. Whatever. We could make that decision in the heat of the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I did like that.
Yeah, the one thing on that is that I had a character that had a power. I think he got an ability card that allowed him to do it, which one, it gave him another icon that he needed to do skills, though, but it gave him power on that he was able to use a second weapon card. But we thought, well, we can only use 2 out of the 3 you're going to get.
That's
and
true.
I'm like going, does that power allow me to use actually that character to be able to use 2, and then another one of my characters use 1?
I don't think we ever found the answer to that.
Yeah, so that it's probably something I want to look up.
Yeah, before we play this again, I would definitely want to find the
said,
answer to that.
I mean, we discussed it in there, and you said, no, you can only play 2. And I'm like going, but this allows him to use a second one. Why is the use of this power, which means he's the only one that can attack on my side?
Well, he's doing more damage in one shot because the monsters immediately retaliate. And I get what you're saying. I definitely would want to look that up because we may have been cheating ourselves.
Yeah, because, I mean...
I don't know.
I don't see how it still makes it sound like you're still only getting a certain amount of shots on it, but this card sounds like he would get an extra shot if he had
like you
another
should be
weapon
able
for
to.
it. If he was able to use 2 of the 3 cards that you were getting, and the other player could get the other card. So my 2 characters I was using got 3 weapons.
Right. I don't know.
So it is
Worth
something to look up. If anybody knows the answer, let us know.
Please.
If you've played this game.
Yeah.
Like I said, this was only our first look at it. We didn't even finish the adventure, so moving on from battle.
That was basically it. It basically encompasses the whole game. There were cards you could pick up. Oh, wait, you did have a hand of cards.
Yes.
And you could occasionally, quote unquote, purchase those cards, and I do not remember how you purchased them, to get them onto your player.
And you could have 3? Or was
you
it
could
4?
have... I want to say it was like 4 or 5, but
I don't think it was 5. I think it fit at the bottom of your card. I think it was 3 or 4.
I don't know. We'll have to look that up again. I don't remember off the top of my head. Either way, you got skill cards that, as you were just alluding to in combat, that some of them gave you special abilities. Most of them gave you extra icons you could use in skill checks.
Yes.
Whereas my base character would be 1 perception and 2 cunning and 2 strength. This would give me maybe another perception or another cunning, or maybe it would give me one of the other ones I don't even have. So various things like that. So the skill cards those cards are really good to have. Yeah, skill cards, but they did cost you. And the more, like, you could have 1 icon of something, and I may be confusing this with Primeval Peril because we played them both back to back, but you could have 1 icon and that only cost you so much. But then the next icon, it cost you more. Because you could only have, if you tried getting 2 of the same type of card, 2 of the same icon card, then it would cost you a little bit more because you already had 1.
Yeah,
and I may be confusing.
Yeah,
that
I know, because we played both of them almost like back to back
Yeah.
because it was in the same video.
Yeah,
That one, I don't remember. Help us
Yeah.
out, people. Let us know.
Well, and
Like
we're going to be playing this
was our
one
first
again.
view of it.
Yeah.
So
We're going to be playing this one again for sure because this is on the list of playing for our Cooperative Sunday, but we're just going to do role player first.
this one was, like you said, a lot easier to play than the original one. I'm looking at a picture. I don't recall ever seeing. Did we have miniatures for our character? Each character had its own miniature?
We had 1 base miniature for Sarah, I think her name was, the captain. In the Kickstarter, you got miniatures for all 4 characters.
Yeah, okay, that's the picture I'm looking at on BGG. I was like going,
yes, no,
I don't remember having a
miniatures.
character for everybody.
We had placards because sometimes when you went into a village, you could split up
out.
and do the different
that's right.
things.
Okay.
And those placards indicated where you went. The miniatures were used for that.
Okay.
The miniatures were instead of the placards.
Okay.
But the placards you would put into different areas, and you would open the page to that village in the book, and everybody could go do different things in the village to either pass different skill tests to get benefits or whatnot. Go help different people, whatever. You could split up and do your own thing in the villages. But that's pretty much it. I mean, I truly enjoyed this.
Yes.
We played it for 2 nights. It was one of those games that there was no set time limit on it, so we just left it open.
Yeah.
Thank goodness that, like I said, our cats do not typically go in the room if we're not there. So we didn't have to worry about them
jumping up
taking
on the
out-
table and knocking
taking
it
out
out.
anything. And we don't have a door on that room.
Yeah.
There is no door in the game room. We could makeshift a door if we had to.
Yep.
We've done it before. But
Yes.
none of the cats enter the room if we're not there. So
Yeah,
it doesn't
Jarvis
matter.
is no longer here, so we don't have to worry about him stealing the miniature and making it disappear,
Forever. We've never found
like
it.
one of our other games.
Yeah, never have found that thing. Anyway, so yeah, we just left it sitting up on the table and sat back down the next night after dinner and played another couple hours. And we were going to play it a third night, and then we kind of sat down and thought, you know what? Let's not spoil anything else. We've got a really good feel for the game. We've really enjoyed what we've seen so far, but we want to play this with Doug and Sarah for Cooperative Sunday, and I don't want to spoil.
Don't want to spoil everything.
Yeah, I feel like we've already seen a good chunk. No, we haven't even seen a minuscule of what's there,
Right.
but I don't want to spoil anything else.
Yeah. Well,
So-
till we get to a certain spot, I guess we'll let them make the
Yeah,
decisions.
there you go.
Like we've
Well, and
already
they-
seen this, so we're
and
going to
they
let you
may
make a
decide to
decision.
go off in a totally different direction. In the
Yes,
areas
yes,
we've
and
never
that's the
seen.
cool thing about this game. Every time you play it, it could be 100% different
Yes.
because you could take off in different directions.
Yeah. So I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
I feel like we were getting into spoiler territory on our second night.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't want to go any further into spoiler territory.
Right.
So that's why we put it up.
Yes.
But I'm looking forward to getting it back out again.
Yes,
already.
and I think that's one of the reasons why we didn't go to the undiscovered land that we had found.
Yes, because we wanted to
we
leave.
didn't wanna-
We didn't want
yep.
to spoil that. So, but anyway, unless you have anything else to say,
Nope.
I think that does it.
That is Sleeping God's Distance, guys.
Yes.
And that's going to do it for this episode. If you like this episode or any of our content and haven't subscribed to the podcast, please do so by going to iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and give us a rating and a comment. This is how others can find the show. But in the meantime, if you want to follow us on social media just to keep up with us and see what we're doing, just follow the links in the show notes. There you'll find links to Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, YouTube, Threads, Discord, Blue Sky, and our merch shop. Or you can contact us directly at meeplesociety@mail.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you at the next one.